watched part 1 of this video, click on the description below, click on the link, watch part 1 first, then come back and watch this part. See you then! Okay, so this is the fun part. Now we're starting to see some stuff happening. We're 5 minutes in, and you can already see the instant yeast. Loads of bubbles there. It's foaming beautifully. Yeah. Then the brewer's yeast, also quite foamy, but not as big bubbles as the instant yeast. Then the champagne yeast is like a fine foam.
Fine foam, yeah.
Yeah.
But you can see they're like all active.
You can see they're all active. They're all doing something. The premium wine yeast, also a bit of bubble there. But not like there's no party happening.
Not aggressively, like no. I'd say probably the most active is this instant yeast.
Red yeast.
Yeah, all right.
And then the last one, the cider yeast, very few bubbles, but it is bubbling. Just if you compare it, it's like
pretty much on par what we thought. By having it in line like that is exactly the way that it's quite funny how it worked out.
Yeah.
So
and so we've still got 10 minutes to go, and then we'll add it. But the thing is, when you're making mead, you actually don't want it to foam too quickly. You don't want it to activate too quickly, because then it's going to eat away at all the sugars. So you want it to do a slower process.
Yeah.
So it'll be very interesting to see the result especially on the palate once we rack these off.
Yeah. And also the other thing is to make sure that the yeast is actually alive, isn't it?
Yeah. So we do it. I mean, you do it like this so that you make sure you're not putting dead yeast.
Into your mix, and then a couple of days into it, you can't understand why it's not fermenting.
Yeah, and you don't want to have to redo it. So yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Perfect. 10 minutes time.
Okay. So 15 minutes is now passed. So now we are going to add a little bit of...
hang on, before you do that, let's just have a look quickly.
Looks like a nice cappuccino.
It does, hey? It looks quite frothy, hey?
Frothy.
That one? Yeah, that's more of a... hang on, before you say, let's have a look. Yeah, you see, it's a lot finer as you go down the line, and have a look at that. I mean, that cider one is going, but it's just like very, very fine. I mean, if you have a look from the side, you can definitely see a big difference between them.
Okay, so this jug is obviously sterilized. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add about 200 mils. Actually, 150 mils is a lot easier. So I'm just going to add 150 mils of this honey water to each yeast.
Yeast, okay.
Okay.
Right, and obviously
It doesn't have to be 150 mils. It's just what I've decided today.
But we'll keep the buckets in line with the jug, so
exactly.
It's all relative, eh?
Yeah.
But around about 150 mils each one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, and this basically we're adding a little bit of sugar so that or sweetness so that we don't shock the yeast as we add it back to the bucket.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose you don't have to do it like this. You can decide you want to just whack it in.
Yeah, with some of our other batches, we don't at all. Sometimes if the bucket is warm, hey?
We're trying to improve our skill set. So that's why we're doing it like this. Okay, so now that those are all added, we're just going to wait another 5 minutes, and then we'll move the whole lot in.
Yeah.
We're just going to stir it a bit. Obviously, the yeast will go down a little bit.
Let's give it 10 minutes.
Okay, we'll give it 10 minutes, and then we're going to add it, and then mix it nicely with lots of oxygen into it. Then we'll add our oranges. Cool.
Fantastic.
Yes. No.
Wow, look at put it down. Let's have a look at the foam. So if you compare them, it's amazing how they've actually come up, and it's completely. They all do have a different result. So that's more like that's an instant yeast. So it literally is instant, eh?
Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna put it in, and then we're gonna just
rinse out the mug a bit.
Rinse out the mug a bit inside the jug. Remember, it's all been sterilized already.
You don't have any of the yeast sitting at the bottom there or anything like that.
No. Okay, so it's all in there.
Cool.
This can also help you to incorporate some
air into
there.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm just going to plonk it down.
I'm
going to show you how we're going to do all of them, and then we can
Yeah, we're not in a rush. We're not going away. We'll watch you.
Okay, so once we've added the yeast, we want to incorporate quite a bit of air in there. Make sure you get the bottom going as well. If you've got it in a carboy or something, you can actually just seal it up and give it a good old shake.
Hey? Yeah.
But this is also fine.
Picked up nicely. These are all new buckets, hey? They've never been used for mead before or anything else.
Actually.
Yeah.
That's a better way to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's got quite a bit of a bubble happening there. nice and mixed in.
While we're on the topic of buckets and plastic, so the disadvantage of using plastic buckets for making mead is they can get scratched over time, hey?
Yes, and then they hold bacteria and things like that in them, so you don't actually want to reuse buckets if you can help it.
That's what makes the glass so much better, huh?
Yeah, but the glass is it's very expensive.
Yeah.
Especially if you want to have 5 of them. Okay, so that one's now done. Again, so we've actually got a bucket here with sterilizing water, just to sterilize it in between, so we don't mix the yeasts and the flavorants in.
Yeah, we want to keep the yeast separate, eh?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the one that's really good. Good. These are the ones without the yeast. Just the honey water. Okay, so these two have got now, huh?
Yep.
Be interesting to see how long it starts to get bubbling.
This one's the champagne yeast.
Looking forward to this one. We haven't tried champagne yeast before, have we?
No, apparently champagne yeast is very good if you're trying to achieve a sweeter mead.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'll just see what happens.
Okay, and then the next one's going to be the wine yeast, eh?
Yep. If you know anything about these yeasts and want to give some advice, guys, we're all here to learn. Share some info. Maybe a story if you've made a mead with a particular yeast and it turned out fantastically or turned out terribly. Tell us so we don't make the same mistakes as you guys. So
or if there's something that you'd like us to try out, like another experiment like this, post it on as a challenge and let's see if we can get it going.
Good idea.
And then don't forget to comment on this video if you know what that light was, why we used that specific light. Then the first person to guess correctly will
get a bottle of mead.
We'll courier a bottle of mead to you. Fantastic.
You could even possibly request one of these ones when they're finished.
I don't know, I might need to drink all these.
Oh my word.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're on to the last one now, which will be the cider one. And
look inside there.
Oops.
Oh, very slow one, hey?
Yeah. Very interesting to see how it reacts.
Yeah. We also haven't used the cider mead, yeast before, have we?
No, we haven't. We haven't used the cider yeast or the
champagne
yeast.
Yeah. Good.
Okay.
Right. Zip it up. The oxygen is for the yeast, eh?
Yes. It's just to help activate it. And it also helps to make sure that it's well incorporated into the whole bucket.
And then once this is done, then there's no stirring, there's no...
No, so
you don't move the buckets for like...
4 weeks.
4 weeks, eh?
Yeah.
Sometimes we leave it longer.
We're going to come on this side because we're going to now put in all the oranges.
All right. And remember, they're all weighed out exactly. I think that's because we spent a lot of time with some Germans recently, hey? All right.
Okay.
There we go.
So if you wanted, you could squeeze the oranges in as well. But, yeah, I don't feel like doing it. Okay. And the last one. Right, all done.
Yeah,
now,
stir them up a bit.
We'll give them one last stir, and then we're going to place the lids on, nice and tight, and we're going to put one of these on each one. Breathers. And from that, we'll then put them in the warm place and leave them for 4 weeks.
All right. We'll be back in 5 minutes.
Yes. Okay, so we're all done. Every single one has been measured, labeled, and has got its burper on here. Some of them are already burping.
It's
I don't know if that's what it's called, but I like to call it a burp. Look.
An airlock, yeah. So, yeah, that's it. And also, we'll do a separate video on, let's say, the different liquid that you actually put inside there, because some go along and say an alcohol, and some go along and say a sanitizing mix, and some just say distilled water. Yeah. So, but we'll get to that in more technical detail. And also the other video that we wanted to do was the hydrometer, huh?
Yeah, so we'll show you, we'll do a video on how to do a hydrometer reading and how to work it out. It needs to be done right at the beginning and then again right at the end of fermentation so that you can work out the alcohol content in the product that you've produced. So what we've done on all of these, we've written the date, what yeast we've used, and we've also put the initial hydrometer reading on each of the buckets. They're all pretty much the same. This one, only the one with the instant yeast was slightly
minute fraction, eh?
yeah, like
1.145.
and all the others are 1.14. So it'll be very interesting to see what those readings will be once they are all finished fermenting and as we go through over the next couple of weeks. So subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss out on this and that you can see the results of what we've had. Don't forget to tell us what you thought of why we were using that particular light. Don't forget, you can win a bottle of mead. Anyway, guys, hope you have a wonderful evening. Don't forget, keep your mead brewing so you never run out. We'll see you soon. Normally you start.
I am recording. Okay, so